The finals are here. The Pacers play game one tonight, their first finals game in 25 years. We heard from the team yesterday. How will they play today? What is there to watch for? How will it set the tone for the rest of the series? You'll hear about it all today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Thursday. You made it. It's the finals. The time off is over, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today I am in Oklahoma City. I am in a hotel room with a very scuffed, kind of taped, kind of tucked in a window background that's Pacers adjacent. Derek Kramer is in the room writing his stories for a High Pacers blog, and now he's in the background. And we have so much to talk about because game one is here for the Indiana Pacers, their biggest game in 25 years. Pending how the series goes, they could be playing their biggest game in franchise history at some point in the next 2 weeks. Remarkable. And this one's already up there. They fell behind early in that Lakers series in their first finals appearance. If they do better this time, they'll be playing some of their biggest games ever before you even know it. We're going to look at game one, things that I think will be important, both for seeing how this series is going and setting the tone for the rest of Pacers Thunder, how adjustments could be made. As you all know, I have my own major thoughts on how important game one is to series, and the Pacers have won every game one they've played this year. They have never trailed in a series. Can they keep that up? So many things to keep an eye on, and is very critical. Pacers Thunder game one. And I think that the one thing that is immeasurable that everybody's going to wonder about, that I was kind of asking about today, something I bumped into a couple players and actually talked to them about, is the bright lights of all this. You know, it's Oklahoma City. The city itself is not glitzy and glamoury. They've played in Vegas. They've played in New York. They've played in Boston. They're ready for the physical big stage. But something that's been an interesting part of this playoff run is something that Tyrese Haliburton said before the Bucks series even started, right? Last year, they admitted it. That part of them was just happy to be there in the playoffs. And to their credit, they fought through that emotion and they won 2 rounds. And they made the conference finals, and they got a lot of great experience out of that. And Pascal Siakam showed his leadership, and that was all awesome stuff. It's all built them up to being the team they are right now on the championship stage. However, this year, because of that feeling they admitted last year, they did not feel like they were happy to be here. They had real goals of winning real things, and series plural again, and they have, and that's great. They've handled those emotions well. They've proven that they were right to have very strong aspirations for this playoffs. And yet, every round so far, this group, every single player on the team, except for Tony Bradley and the rookies, had been there before. They'd been to the conference finals before, or the second round or whatever. This is a brand new stage. If you are not Pascal Siakam, if you are not Thomas Bryant, welcome to a new round. You are playing in the finals for the first time. Maybe there's somebody who played in one that I am forgetting and didn't win it, but I believe it is Caruso, Thomas Bryant, and Pascal Siakam in the series, and that's it. It's a huge new stage. And so some of the players I was talking to today, like, they saw the amount of media, and it wasn't like it didn't change their emotions, but it does make you be like, oh, it's the finals. Like, it's the freaking NBA finals. And their emotions haven't hit them yet because whatever reason, they've just been practicing. Maybe emotions won't hit them at all. Some guys are immune to that kind of stuff. But there'll be a moment where if you're a Pacers player or a Thunder player, you walk out of the tunnel in the Paycom Center, or you show up at the arena and there's a lot going on, or you will go to the scores table to check in, or your name is announced as a starter, or whatever. You watch the game preview on ABC tonight or whatever, ESPN tonight. Whatever moment, it's going to come for everyone where they go, oh, whoa, like it's the finals, right? Joe Lorenzi of the Oklahoma and asked Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a good question about like managing the expectations of the moment and things like that today. And so I'm going to, and everyone has talked about a million basketball reasons on the floor why this team's get better and that player's better and this could happen and that could happen. And maybe it's all true. Maybe in a vacuum, all these emotions come out in the wash. But the finals are just different, right? Like some guys just shrink, some guys rise. And so how much do the bright lights of the moment impact these players? Because the Pacers have fought through it. They haven't had any new experiences till now, and that's great. But it now is. And what does that mean? When do those nerves come? Does it fight off till a game 5, a game 6, a game 7? Do they look good right away? Can it be a competitive advantage for them? And that's specifically where guys like Siakam and Caruso are so valuable, who have done that before and played actual real important roles on good teams to keep guys, in check, in line, whatever, about what's going on, what's coming next, how to manage this, if falling behind is or isn't a big deal, blah, blah, blah. That is the only thing that if I dive into anything today or anyone talks about anything leading up to the series, that is just incalculable. You just don't know. And there's a lot of big basketball questions separate to that. So let me fly in the face of what I just said and actually talk about basketball things that will be absolutely critical today for the Pacers, identifying how they're going to play in the series. Can they fight through some of the basic stuff that everybody thinks they're going to have to fight through in the series? Let me take you back to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the last round to talk about the Pacers, because everybody identifies what has to happen against the Thunder. You can't turn it over. You can't let them play fast. Guess what the Timberwolves did? They turned it over. They let the Thunder play fast. It's so easy to say these things. It's not easy to do them. And almost every game you'd hear someone with Minnesota in their post-game media talk about, we've got to have better ball security. We've got to take care of the ball. Intangibles, little things. And they got better at it throughout the series. They scored 100 billion points in game 4, but it was a struggle for them. And the Thunder love to force turnovers, and they love to score in transition, and that's why their pace is so good, and part of why their defense is so good, and part of why they're so miserable to play against. You can listen to Obi Toppin on this very podcast feed yesterday talking about how annoying the Thunder defense can be. Annoying was the word he used. I thought that was absolutely perfect. And so how does that manifest for the Pacers in these games? And the real question I have by using the Minnesota Timberwolves as the springboard is, can the Pacers do the exact things everybody knows they should, including themselves? It sounds so easy to talk into a microphone and look at you and say this, or for the Pacers to talk into a microphone and say this, or for anyone to say it. Don't turn it over. Just don't. That's great. The Timberwolves said it a million times, and they turned it over 18, 20, 17, a billion times every game. Too many. And the Wolves scored a bunch of fast break points. Look at game 6 of Pacers-Knicks. You think the Knicks came into that game thinking they were going to turn it over a bunch? No, they thought they were going to manage their turnovers like they did in game 5. They had, 17 turnovers, and the Pacers scored over 30 points off those turnovers. Offense came easy to them. The Knicks knew they shouldn't do that, and they did it anyway. Whatever you want to call that, a lack of focus, a lack of execution, whatever, there are known challenges of playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. And how the Pacers do against those known challenges will be revealing, because those are the hardest ones to overcome throughout a series. That's the stuff that makes the Thunder as good as they are. If you look bad in those moments early in the series, it's going to be really hard to get good at all the other stuff to overcome those challenges. More specifically, the turnovers is a big one, right? Don't do it. This is one that for the Pacers, they'll feel good about, and they should. They don't turn it over very much naturally, but guys who have loose passes off the bench, that's basically everybody at times. Guys who have loose handles, Andrew Nembhard recently, Aaron Nesmith's when it gets away from him. Even Siakam and Turner have loose handles at times. They got to be crisp. Getting the Thunder those easy chances. Getting back in transition. The Thunder play like the Pacers, fast. They want to get up the floor. Very important. Do not let them score off of makes quickly like the Pacers do. Be ready for zones. The Pacers had to be ready for zones against the Bucks and Cavs. They were at times. They absolutely were not at other times. The Knicks made everybody forget about the Pacers' zone struggles because they never play zone. The Thunder absolutely will. Zone will become a topic of conversation again in this series. Both ways. I bet the Pacers mix in some zone. They haven't had to so far in the playoffs. The Thunder saw a lot of zone in the regular season. I bet we see zone in this series. Has Rick Carlisle ever pulled out zone in the key finals before? Regardless, the Pacers have to be ready for zone. All these things, they sound so simple to be ready for. I just said them, and I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. But the Pacers have to know. If they get bogged down by zone, if they turn it over a million times, if the Thunder run them out of the gym, it's hard to run the Pacers out of the gym. The Thunder have a chance to do it. That they're screwed. No other team has been able to easily do these things against the Thunder. That's why the Thunder are in the finals. It's not easy to do this. But if there's like a lack of focus or clear-cut plan to work around these things, that's one, concerning, because that's sometimes Pacers bread and butter stuff. But two, then the Pacers aren't adjusting to like unexpected challenges that they can easily solve. It's like they got to get back to basics, and the Thunder will be feeling great about how they start the series. So that, to me, beyond the intangibles, is some of the stuff in game 1 that I think is critically important for the Pacers. Do not lose the things that everybody knows are coming. Do not get beat by the challenges that I can tell you about from far away. There's a lot of micro challenges that I can't tell you about. And I can't wait to see how the Pacers handle them. So many more things to get to. The bench, Tyrese Haliburton. Where are the holes in this Thunder defense? Are the starters really going to be what we think they are for Oklahoma City? And so much more coming on Locked On Pacers. Before we talk about any of that, we got to talk about FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing every night. Delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. You can check which players in this series are showing up in these biggest moments. How could tracking their trends help you build your next bet? If you can combine live prop bets mid-game based on how the action's unfolding, you could win big. And if you've got a read on who's heating up, back it up with the same game parlay. How could a $200 in bonus bet excitement add if your first $5 bet hits? New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. Obviously, your second listen should be Locked On Thunder. Rylan Stiles, I saw him today. We're going to be at every game in the series. He'll give you the Thunder perspective on media day, on the start of the series, on everything the Thunder need to do to play well, and to play well specifically against the Pacers. Rylan's sharp guy. He's like me. He goes to all the G League games. He knows the Thunder inside and out. I hope you'll give Locked On Thunder a chance. Our crossover was very well received on Monday. Huge question in game one that will define a lot of the rest of the series. And it was a question in Pacers Thunder games this season. In December, Tyrese Haliburton could not get going. The torture chamber, as it was called, was all over him. Some zones were tricky for him. How can he fight through that stuff? Can he fight through that stuff at all? Is that going to be a problem for Tyrese Haliburton? Alex Caruso also exists. He shut down Jokic for a game. That's kind of been overstated. Jokic still played pretty well, but that's going to matter. Can he do well in those moments? What does that look like for Tyrese Haliburton? Or is this Thunder defense full of, as Andrew Nemhart said, talented, versatile, physical defenders? Can Tyrese Haliburton find holes against it? And if he can't, I would like you to go back to that December game with me. To be clear, Shea was awesome in the clutch. Haliburton was not. That should be a starting discussion point for that game. However, the Pacers were winning with a few minutes to go. They found enough offensive success in that game by doing very well in the 4-on-4 moments created by the way the Thunder were pressuring Tyrese Haliburton away from the play. So that's not to say Haliburton has an excuse for a poor game. I'm saying in the past, the Thunder defense was so tilted to slow down Haliburton, it actually hurt them against everyone else. So that's a lot of scene setting to say, what does that balance look like in game one? Can Haliburton finally get going against the OKC Thunder? Because they did well in slowing him down, and they have endless options to do it. I mean, I only brought up two guys, Caruso and Dort. They're both great. Dort made all defense. Caruso, we've seen in this playoffs, he didn't play in many minutes for all defense. J-Dub did make all defense. That's a second all defense guy. Cason Wallace is a monster. The dude's having an awesome first major playoffs. He played in the playoffs last year. Is doing a lot of good stuff on both ends, and he's a great defender. Again, endless supply of great defenders on this OKC team. One of them will be guarding Haliburton all the time. Sometimes two of them will be guarding Tyrese Haliburton, depending on how they respect other jumpers and things like that. Endless options. If Ty can get going against those guys, that's great. That means he can get going against anyone in this series. And it's important that the Pacers find ways for him to get going on the move specifically, not just like having the ball and getting off it and getting it back. Game 5 against the Knicks, he had the ball a lot, but Mikal Bridges did not let him get it on the move, didn't let him get it at all, and he didn't play well. They've got to set lots of good screens. They've got to involve the weakest, air quotes, defenders on the floor for OKC and keep things moving as players, but he's got to get going, and if he can't, if Tyrese Haliburton can't get going, can anyone? Can the 4-on-4 stuff work like it did in that first game? In the second game, Chet doesn't play. Hartenstein gets hurt at halftime. The small ball Thunder still rolled the Pacers, right? They have very good talent. It's important that the Pacers find answers to any Thunder problem because any group on the floor can be challenging. So I think it's very important that the answers to this question get found out in game one. Can Tyrese Haliburton get going against specific or all matchups? And if not, does the rest of the team have a path to success? If not, that is this a game 5 against the Knicks in game 1? Because if it happens in game 1, what happened in game 5 against the Knicks? Oh boy, the Pacers are not going to be feeling good about the way the rest of the series could go. I mean, man, that was the lowest point for the Pacers in the playoffs. It was the first time they lost the game with 3 wins and they couldn't score at all. They scored 94, their lowest of the playoffs. Haliburton was dreadful. Guys could not pick it up for him. If that's how they feel in game 1 of the finals against a great defense, oh boy. They've got to avoid that. And that kind of leads to question 2 I will be looking at strongly in this game. What or who or how are the Pacers going to attack the Thunder defense? No one can. Good luck. I mean, Ant tried. He had a lot of games where Ant would get to the podium. Anthony Edwards, by the way, as aggressive as he gets, he'd go, man, I only took that many shots. Or like, man, we didn't move the ball well. As a team, we weren't playing very connected. Or some guy was over dribbling. Like a good player was over dribbling. They got good shots, but they rush them. Like there was just I'm looking too much at that round. Like the Nuggets found some solutions, but it's not easy to attack the Thunder. Their worst defender that plays a lot is SGA. He's not a bad defender. He's just their worst defender, and it's mostly just because he's not huge. Isaiah Joe is not a good defender, and he doesn't play as much in the playoffs because he's not a good defender. They turn to guys like Wiggins and Caruso more often. There's not just like a matchup thing to go at. In every round, there's been a moment or a game where the Pacers have won that game or adjusted to a matchup difficulty because something, a switch like Jared Allen onto the perimeter guys in the Cavs series, like Cat on anyone or Brunson on anyone in the Knicks series, Dame on anyone, lots of guys, frankly. Brook Lopez in the Bucks series, where like that specific guy getting switched onto somebody was a very frequent reason the Pacers were doing what they were doing. A certain player was setting screens, a different guy was cutting, a different guy was moving, a certain ball handler was initiating, all because of that thing or that way they were defending in the Bucks case a lot of the times, where they were dropping or they were switching depending on who the big was, right? That dictated a lot of the Pacers' attack plan. That's not, you can't do that. You can't even do that against the Pacers. If their bad defenders aren't even playing in the Thunder's case, like what are the Pacers aren't going to be able to just do that. So where do the Pacers attack? Is it just playing their game and hoping that leads to breakdowns for the Thunder? That would be my suggestion to start the series and seeing how much that can actually force issues, right? Donovan Mitchell saying we can't practice playing at their pace. It was hard to defend. Still sticks with me as a reason the Pacers should just kind of default to game 1, see how it goes. Can they get the corner threes going at the rate that's been discussed by me and by others leading up to the series, right? That is the one shot the Thunder probably don't like that they give up as much as they do. The way their defense tilts with pressure means especially the weak side corner guy is going to be open. A lot of teams don't have guys who can make that pass to the corner. You know who does? The Pacers. They have Tyrese Haliburton, who is a master manipulator, especially when he's got a good roll man thing going at getting that pass off, right? Is that there? Is that how they attack? Is there some big man thing they can get to if, especially when Hartenstein's not on the floor, right? Can they actually go at Chet in a way that Chet's an amazing defender, but I don't consider him an awesome, like, bullying type defender? Can that be something? Is it just the raw stuff? Is there an action that they like that gets some good shots? I don't know. You know who else doesn't know? Anybody. The Thunder had the best defense in the regular season by 2.5 points. They've had the best defense in the playoffs by 3.5 points per 100 possessions. They're the only team under 105 defensive rating in the playoffs. Only 2 other teams are below 110. Their defense is ridiculous. It's just insane. That's why half my questions have not been to Pacers players. Why do you think the Thunder are so good? What challenges do you see coming? It's obvious. It's their defense. So I've been saying, what makes their defense so good? Can you break it down? And I loved Obi Toppin's answer. They're annoying. They're annoying because there's so much pressure and it's hard and it's like, oh, guys, give me a break. Leave me alone. No one's left alone unless you stink at shooting. And no one on the Pacers stinks at shooting. And that's why there will be ways to attack something, somewhere, some flimsy thing to poke at over and over. Can the Pacers find it? What is it? And is it something they can keep going at throughout the series over and over? Or is it something the Thunder can easily fix with a rotation change, a strategy change, whatever? So many more little things to get to: the bench, the starting lineup for the Thunder, what leads to adjustments, and so much more on this final pre-final segment of Locked On Pacers. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. The coach-killing Pacers, so make your second listen Locked On Knicks. Tom Thibodeau out in New York. Wow, joins Mike Brown and Michael Malone as coach was fired very recently after playing the Pacers this season. I'm stunned by this. I think Tibbs is a decent to great coach, and the Knicks had a great season. Alas, I guess I do get it. Locked On Knicks will have way more and way more nuance than what I just said on the firing of Tom Thibodeau. Wow. Just wow. Let's wrap this up. 3 more things to get to. 1, a curiosity I have, because I've heard people talk about it who are smarter than me. And I don't think this will be a thing that happens right away, but could be a thing in the series. The Thunder starters, pretty routine throughout the playoffs. J-Dub, Shea, Lou Dort, and the 2 bigs. Great lineup. It all fits very well. It's all very additive. Is that really what they're going to do? Isaiah Hartenstein starts, but he plays like 17, 20, 19, 22 minutes in these games. He's not playing as much. They're getting guys off the bench and more. A lot of times it's Caruso. Sometimes it's Jalen Williams. Sometimes it's someone else. They have a lot of depth. They match the Pacers in that way. In this exact specific series, where they have matchups for Siakam and Haliburton, especially if they play Caruso and Dort, do the Thunder change their starting lineup? Or do their starting lineups not play that much together? Right? I bet, here's my guess. My bet is that they start the series with their base group as normal and see how it functions, see what works, see what clicks, see what doesn't, right? That's what most teams do. The Bucks did that and everybody was like, what are you doing? And it didn't work. But still, most teams don't want to enter a series immediately playing a card of adjustments if they don't have to. I would imagine Isaiah Hartenstein starts to start the series. But I would not be shocked if Caruso did at some point, even very early in the series. If they can get Caruso and Dort out there, that makes it so hard for the Pacers to get possessions going quickly. Do they just go to Isaiah Joe and tilt offense and say, oh, great, the Pacers are scoring a lot. Great, we can too. We've got this great shooter. Go guard him. Shea's going to score more. Is there anything else to this, right? It's just impossible to see what the Thunder could be thinking. Mark Daigneault's really sharp, but, you know, they never play Jay Will and another big, the Jalen Williams, not J-Dub. And so the point would just be to have one center for the Thunder, and specifically those units being good, because Chet can do it. He's that good of a player. It makes them match up well with the Pacers. So specifically in this series, it's actually possible for them to get away without starting Hartenstein. I wonder if they'll do it. I don't think they'll do it to start the series, but enough people have talked about it or like floated it to me. It's like, are we sure about this? That I wanted to bring it up and discuss it. But I don't think in game 1 we'll see it change. Thing 2 in this rapid fire third segment. How does the Pacers bench do? For the first time, it does not feel like the Pacers have a huge volume of depth advantage in a series, right? They played the Cavs. The Cavs trust 8 guys, play 7. They play the Bucks. The Bucks had some decent bench players that should have been starting and some stars that should have been playing at all. They had 8 guys, trusted 7. We all know the storylines going into the Knicks series. And then the Knicks actually played more guys and it helped them. The Thunder have lots of depth and lots of very good depth, to be specific, right? Isaiah Joe, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams come off the bench and all play well for that team. Aaron Wiggins, amazing bench, like spectacular. They have guards who are threatening as well. What does the Pacers bench look like? TJ McConnell is a tough series for him. He's going to be guarded by someone good. He's not going to have as much space to do all the movement-y TJ McConnell stuff. But if he's flipping in those mid-rangers, who cares, right? What does the Pacers bench actually look like? Ben Mathurin, this is a big series for him, I think. If the game is not favoring the Pacers pace-wise, he's got to be great. Toppin's got to be the Obi Toppin that looks like a juicer every time he's on the floor. Shepard's got to make shots. Bryant's got to make shots. No Jarris early hurts. Are we certain the Pacers will play their full bench early in the series? Are we certain? I was wrong in that I thought the Pacers might shorten their bench in the playoffs this year after they did last year. They did not this year. Ben Shepard, game 1 of the Knicks series, doesn't play till the 4th quarter. Thomas Bryant, game 1 of the Bucks series, doesn't play till the 2nd quarter. And that, I think foul trouble influenced that. Like, even though game 1 of Cavs and Bucks series, the Pacers did play deep guys. And I think in the Cavs game 1, they played 11, right? Rick is willing to go deep into his bench. Is he willing to early in this series? Is he willing to carve that up early? Will it be like the Knicks series? Will it be desperation? Will it be kind of how the game feels? Because you have heard him say, like, yeah, I wanted to see what that looked like with a certain guy, right? They have a lot of guys that could have an interesting impact in the series. Shepard could be a valuable defender on the MVP if it's just another guy to throw out on him for a couple of minutes to let Nembhard and Nesmith rest. Right? Thomas Bryant could be important as a floor spacing big who can actually battle in the glass with Hartenstein. Obi Toppin could be an important stretch four, but they could also not be. And so the bench, specifically who plays, but also how much they play, will be very revealing in game 1 and very telling of the Pacers' adjustments, because that's something that is different in this series than other series. Is that advantage is not as strong. And that I'll talk about that actually in my last point, but I'll be very curious how Carlisle looks at the bench and assigns who to who and how much minutes to every single guy. Last thing, adjustments. What happens that will lead to adjustments? I talk about this every time. This is why I place so much value on a game one. Not because it actually has any more win probability add than any other game necessarily, but because specific things that happen in game one are adjusted to, are basis points for changes, whatever you want to call it, for the rest of the entire series, right? If something does or doesn't happen in game one, the result of game one changes the feeling for a team a lot. The Pacers played like crap and won game one in the Garden. And then they didn't have to change a ton, and they won game two. And the Knicks had to make changes. Their whole bench changes. Their strategy's changing. And finally, they win in game three, but it's too late. This is obviously all anecdotal, but this is how I feel about game ones. What happens and what will happen in game one of Pacers Thunder that leads to adjustments? Is there a specific matchup, or is there a specific rotation, or is there a specific set or action? Is there a specific player who's shut down that the Pacers have to get going? Because, especially for the Pacers specifically in this game, in this series, this is two faster teams. It's not as easy for the Pacers to just slam the pace button. Bang, do that. We got to play faster. That's our adjustment. They can't do that style shift. I just talked about this. They don't have the bench advantage. They can't say, oh, we can play Jarris instead. He's not playing. They can't say we can play this guy instead. They don't have as much. They don't have more depth than the other team for once. They have a lot of depth. They have great depth. Their bench is very good. Is it actually better than the Thunder's? Maybe. But is it enough of them for them to say like they have all these buttons they can push? The other team doesn't? Maybe not. They can't play faster, or they can, but it's not as easy. It's going to be harder to play as many different combos in their team. Do they go less? Do they try to slow down? They should not try to slow down. They should try to play their way. You know, how these games lead to adjustments will be fascinating, given the Thunder's talent level, given what they're good at, given where it looks like this series could go. What leads to adjustments? What forces the Pacers to adjust? We will see. It's finally here. Finally, the finals. Will the Pacers do better than their first finals appearance? They're on the doorstep of their first championship, but they got to win 4 more times against a 68-win team that has a plus 11 playoff net rating. People have counted them out in every series, and they've won all 3 so far. Can they do it again? They believe in themselves more than anyone. Their style is so demanding to play against that it's beaten 3 teams. Can it beat a 4th? They find out if they can do that on the journey tonight. I'll be at every game of the series. So will Locked On Thunder host Rylan Stiles. Derek Kramer will be at many of them, and as he sits over there and watches me do a podcast. Thank you all so much for listening today and to all the series coverage of Pacers Thunder. Back tomorrow, talking Pacers Thunder game 1. If it's not an insane game, it'll be just me. If it's some batch nuts game like it has been, you know there'll be a guest. Thank you all so much for listening. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Tony Arice. This podcast is at Locked On Pacers on both Instagram and Twitter. Thank you all so much. We'll see you after game 1.